Gold has recently reached all-time highs over $4,100 US or $5,800 Canadian, which is translated to investors increasingly looking for gold and silver companies that are positioned to capitalize on this historic pricing. And let's not forget about silver, currently sitting at $52 or $73 Canadian equivalent. So today, look no further than ESGold, the company's flagship Montauban Gold-Silver Project in Quebec, is under construction with production anticipated around Q2, late Q2 2026. And it's going to come with high margin economics and minimal capex because ESGold has found an economical, viable path for precious metal production from tailings and surface rock. That's how they secured a key $9 million partnership recently. And on top of all that, they've got district scale exploration opportunity on top of that, which is why the company has said we are building ESGold into Canada's next producing mining company. Their flagship project is a past producer. It's located 80 kilometers west of Quebec City and is set to resume production 2026. Over $15 million have been invested in its development. And in their updated PEA, they've got a payback period of less than 2 years. That tells you it's going to be spitting off all sorts of cash. And here's the crazy part. That's all based on pricing assumptions of $2,900 gold and 31, let's call it $32 silver. And look at where the price of both of those are today. Gord, welcome back, my friend.
George, it's great to see you. I appreciate you having me.
Hey, live from Dubai, buddy. This is important enough that, this is happening almost at midnight in Dubai, but this is just too important to be talking about because you guys are doing some unbelievable things. Let's start off big picture. Gold sitting at 41.50, silver sitting at $52. But you're a Canadian producer. What kind of implications does that have? And I know you're working on first at $2,900 gold because that's what your PA was at. But you know, thinking forward for investors, what kind of implications could that have if you're producing at the time you're producing? That's the price you're selling at.
Well, I'm there's a lot of people that would have expected gold to go up to this price. Is you get a lot of gold bugs over the past few years that have been banging the drum on gold and silver. Now, I think we're all a little surprised at how quickly it's risen, but with the state of the global economic turmoil we're in right now, is gold and silver are the only answers. We're in the business of producing real money, right? Like this made sense at $1,400 gold. This made sense at $1,600 gold. This project that we're working on at Montauban, it's important to remember that 15 years ago there was an opportunity. Today, August or October in 2025, gold's touching $4,200 US an ounce. Is the margins are incredible just from the sheer valuation of gold. Is our costs have not changed. What we're planning on doing has not changed. The amount of gold in the ground, the amount of silver in the ground, that has not changed. What has changed is the value. So we're very excited about moving forward. Our timelines are very exciting, considering that many projects, many companies are 2-3 years out from production. That's considered near-term production. And again, not knocking them at all. That's very exciting, but we're months away. We're fully funded. Our building is almost completed. We're doing the groundwork. We're right at that cusp of producing in the highest ever gold market we've ever seen.
Well, let's talk about that then, because you and I have had off-camera conversations, and what's great about you is you don't focus on the current price of gold. You know it's happening, and you know it's significant, but you keep saying none of this matters unless we start producing.
Uh,
Everything we do here is so. What I know there are a lot of steps. There are a lot of people going to be watching and listening at home. I know there are a lot of steps, but ballpark, what are the key steps left for you guys to get into production by, let's say, Q2? Because you don't want to be in Q1 2026. It's Quebec and it's snow and it's cold. So let's say by Q2. And how confident are you guys that you're going to make that ballpark? We're not holding you the exact date, but that ballpark timeline.
Well, you know what, and you said it right. Like as exciting as the gold price is, exciting as the silver price is that doesn't matter for us right now. Is as I mentioned to you off camera, like I don't want to update my cash flow model because I don't even want to see those numbers right now. Like I will, CFO has, but we're so laser focused on building. Is if gold goes to $10,000 tomorrow,
Commendable.
our day to day does not change. So what does it look like over the next few months? Is as I mentioned, our building is weeks away from being completed. We just did a beautiful extension on it, adding another 4,000 square feet, where we have a gold room and a laboratory. The roof went on yesterday. We've like that extension has been unbelievable. Our team is working very diligently. Next steps is ordering the equipment, making sure that everything's in the right place. We have a lot of equipment up on site already, sitting in sea cans, waiting to be installed. We just need that curing process for the concrete floor to finish, and we start dropping equipment into place. This is a well-oiled machine, and there's a lot of moving pieces, but this has been well thought out for a long period of time. The one thing that was always lacking with ES Gold and the Montauban project was funding. Now, we've figured that out. We've completed that in September. That was my first mandate after coming on as CEO. Getting that equity financing
Bravo.
completed was a big step for us. But then what we did is we coupled that with an offtake agreement from Ocean Partners. So what that means is that's a non-dilutive financing for it in two different tranches for phase one up to 500 tons a day and phase two up to our full permitted 1,000 tons per day. And that gives
Three
us that
million dollars
cushion.
in phase one, $6 million in phase two.
That's correct. And the one thing with Ocean, one of the best things about Ocean Partners is the financial commitment is great for us. It's unbelievably partnered with a name like this, but they're in the business of ore trading, of doré trading. They want the material. So they're a phenomenal partner to be able to get involved with because they have all the incentive in the world to see this up and running.
Yeah, because they want that gold because they're a trader. They're a trading house. At the end of the day, they want to get more trades going.
That's their business, right? So there's a tremendous incentive to get us up and going, to get doré poured so that they can take delivery. We have the right people in place, we have the right partnerships in place. Is right now it's timing, shipping, installation, all those fun things that come with building a mill. But like as I mentioned, we're well on our way.
And I've seen past deals. So I commend you on this. I've seen past deals where George Gold does an offtake agreement, but it comes at a massive discount. Just so it's almost like I've got to sell my future because I'm a small cap company and I just want to lock it down. If I got to give a big discount, I'm giving a and so much money is left on the table that could have gone to shareholders, investors, and the company. But you didn't have to do that. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Now, I don't want to speak too much on the metals trading aspect because it's not my business and I don't want to make mistakes where I shouldn't have to. Now, that being said, in the doré in the ore trading business, is doré payables are very favorable. Gold payables on doré bars are over 99%, silver's usually over 98%. So we see tremendous payables in doré bars. Another reason we're not dealing in concentrate. When you deal in concentrate, payables vary because there's different impurities involved. There's a lot depending on the mix of the ore. There's a lot more factors that come into play. But with our doré production, is the payables are incredibly favorable.
And that's music to shareholders, that's for sure. So if everything goes okay as planned, not perfect, but as planned, and this would be a really important answer for new people who are watching, listening, because they're looking for companies like ES Gold, right? They're not looking for George Gold that's 5 years of exploration, and if things go well, I got another 5 years till I might be producing in 2035, right? They're looking for you. Ballpark, what kind of cash flow are you projecting? What kind of revenues and cash flow are you projecting in 2026 and in 2027?
Although those numbers, as I mentioned, are changing dramatically with the uptick in both gold and silver. Is our focus for 2026 is to get up and running on a 500 ton per day capacity. After 2020, using those revenues, we'd like to upgrade to 1,000 ton per day, as well as that second tranche from the Ocean Partners deal. And that will get us into a more consistent revenue stream or streamlining revenue with, again, we're seeing tremendous valuations in gold and silver. So our cash flow right now is ever changing, but it's only going up. Is the estimates we had earlier in the year when we did our financing, even in September, they're a lot higher now, and it's going to put us in a very favorable position to be able to reinvest that money in expansion of the mill first, and second, for further exploration of the underlying property. There's a VMS deposit beneath us that's wildly underexplored, and this puts us in a very favorable position to have the funds to be able to explore it properly.
And you just stole my thunder. And now people know that we don't script these interviews in advance, because my very next question was going to be, what do you plan to do with all that cash?
That's
Right.
it, right?
So
Is
expand the mill makes sense. That
expand the
obviously
mill,
makes sense.
expand the mill step one, right? But we need to explore what's underneath us. Is this is a past producing mine that's never been explored. Is VMS systems run deep, and this over the last 100 years has only been mined down to about 200 meters at depth. Is this was a lead zinc mine in the early 1900s. Tremendous gold and silver values in those tails, but the focus was lead and zinc. Now, if we're able to look at this from a different lens, drill this properly for gold and silver exploration, is this opens up an entire exploration potential that has never been seen before. Is most past producing mines have been explored, and it's like poking holes in Swiss cheese. Is they know what's there. Is what we do know is a tremendous amount of ore has been taken out of this mine down to 200 meters at depth. Everything under that is untouched, and the gold and silver values in what was taken out were very favorable. So there's nothing in this business that's 100%. But if you look at the odds of finding something beneath our feet are quite favorable, and we're very excited to be able to explore this at scale, both along strike, down at depth, and be able to really sink a drill program into this that could expand the mine life for hopefully another 10, 15 years. With that is every ounce we potentially discover, that's a production ounce. Is we have a mill on site. We're not looking at costly development, big raises on exploration program. This is a self-funding model. Is all the money we're making from the tails, the waste rock on surface that needs to be cleaned up, that environmental hazard the town wants to get rid of. We're turning that into pure value through exploration. We're able to backstop blue sky exploration potential with revenue.
Now I'm going to ask you. I'm going to talk about the clean mining model that you got in a second. But devil's advocate, I got to play devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
I've seen before George Gold is producing, and we're not talking about millions of ounces, like in your range, good size producer, but you're not doing millions of ounces. And George, the CEO, says there's more, and I'm going to spend all the cash flow, and I'm going to spend it on trying to find more gold. And then, if I'm not successful, all that effort to produce and create cash flow is all for naught. What do you say to shareholders might say, hey, leave some for us? Like, is there a chance that there might be some dividends or returns to shareholders, and some of that, and some go into the ground in the mill, or has that not even been a consideration yet?
Oh, everything is a consideration right now, right? Is the amount of money we're going to make on this is, again, with gold prices moving the way they are, it's exciting. So everything's a consideration. Yes, there's a dividend potential. Yes, there's expansion potential. Yes, there's acquisition potential, right? We have nothing but potential in this, and every path needs to be explored properly. Now, what's really nice about this project is because the capex is so low and the payback is so quick, is if we don't find anything in our initial drill programs and our initial exploration, okay, this is a scalable model
Good
where we
point.
pick up and
Good
move on
point.
to the
I
next
like
one.
that.
Is this we're not well, we love the Montauban project and we're there because of the potential, because of the low hanging fruit, and because of the exploration potential. Is we're still able to pivot. Is our focus is clean, scalable mining projects, cleaning up legacy mining waste. Now that funds further expansion. But if we don't find anything beneath our feet, and again, I think the likelihood of that scenario is very minimal, But if we don't, then we pick up when we go to the next one. There's no shortage of tailings piles that need to be cleaned up,
Yep.
of mining waste left over, and underexplored assets. We have a MOU right now in Colombia where we're looking at the same thing. Is we're in our due diligence phase right now. We had metallurgical results come back that were very promising. We're seeing very similar results in the gravity separation that we see in Quebec, but we're doing our due diligence. We have boots on the ground there, making sure that this is the right fit for our shareholders. If it's not, okay, on to the next one.
How did you guys go from Quebec? Again, there's something I was going to ask you, but you went right into it, so we don't script this stuff. How did you guys go from Quebec to Colombia? Uh, because there must be tons of old tailings. I'm assuming your phone must be ringing off the hook from George, the mayor of Georgeville, that says, "Hey, we got a bunch of tailings here, and we would love to have this all cleaned up, and you guys make some money out of this." So why go from Quebec to Colombia outside of the obvious reasons, which is fantastic sunshine and great weather and all that? But why from Quebec all the way to Colombia?
Opportunity, right? It was the right conversation. It looked like the right project at the beginning. It's very exciting. The grades are phenomenal. And what we're focused on at ES Gold is showing a scalable platform that can move across jurisdictions. With Montauban being our proof of concept, showing that this could work, is by
Yeah.
moving into a jurisdiction like Colombia, shows that we are not just a Quebec Canadian company where this only works in one place. By moving down to South America to be able to expand on our model, shows that this model can be implemented in any jurisdiction across the world. That's why South America was a pull. Again, there's tremendous opportunity throughout the United States. I think Nevada comes to mind for everyone, Arizona, but Chile as well. Colombia, there's potential across the pond, maybe in Africa. But what we need is proof of concept. That's Montauban to get cash flowing. That's our laser focus. And then to explore opportunity as they come up. Colombia was one of those opportunities that has come up. So we're exploring that right now. Well, our focus is still on production at Montauban.
Do me a favor for the layman at home, for the layman,
Mhm.
real general, but just to give people a concept understanding, because most people who think about mining think they see massive holes in the earth and there's environmental issues and all that, the stuff that people try, have heard. But you guys have this, clean mining model. Just give everyone a 30,000 foot. How are you able to do clean mining? I mean, I think you and I know, but how are you able to do clean mining and avoid all those issues that the typical mining operations have?
It's a good question, right? So clean mining for the layman, let's stay away from the word mining, right? Let's just say processing. Because what happens when you're mining is you're digging a big hole, you have a ton of ore, right? A ton of material that comes out, and you're trying to take out a small amount of it. The rest gets left behind. Now, the rest of that is filled with chemicals, a lot of cyanide, a lot of detritus material that is not environmentally friendly to be sitting there. So, what happens is that mining waste or tailings gets stockpiled. Now, as mining's been being done in North America for 200 years, right, and centuries across the world, is we see a lot of these legacy tailings
Yeah.
piles and mining waste that are still just sitting there. A lot of them have fallen on the state, or in Montauban's case, in the province's liability. This is an environmental hazard that does need to be cleaned up, but it's on surface. If any one of your listeners wants to Google tailings piles, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. It's a big orange pile of dirt stacked up on the top of the ground. What we're doing is we're going in and we're reprocessing that mining waste. Is by cleaning that up using technology now in 2025, where we're able to remove the leftover material and extract that gold and silver that's left behind while neutralizing that environmentally damaging material to create just an aggregate dirt. That's our goal, is to make this a not just clean it up in an environmentally friendly practice, but to clean up that liability as well. Is we're able to extract the value, that gold, silver, that marketable material that comes out, while neutralizing the remainder so that it could be used for potentially construction material, road building, an aggregate that works in a safe, environmentally friendly way. Is that's what gives us the edge, is there's so many of these tailings piles that are sitting around that are just slowly leaking into the ground, and it's why mining sometimes has a bad reputation. Is
So is your phone ringing, Gord? Like, is it like I said? Are you getting calls from different are towns and cities and places far away discovering you guys, saying, "Hey, can you guys come and take a look at our situation?" Or are you guys still bird dogging? You guys have to go out and find, these
no,
for yourselves.
a bit of both, right? I mean, we get the pick at
You
the
do
best
both.
project right now, and it's like my phone is certainly ringing. Like, there's a lot of projects that get sent to me that, what do you think of this one? But what I think is important to realize is this is not a new concept, right? We're just taking advantage of the opportunity that we have. Is so many mining companies out there, and there's a lot of great exploration companies, a lot of great development companies, and a lot of great producers. They go after those big deposits. Everybody's whale hunting. And in this market, that can be tremendous. You take $50,000 drill program and you find a massive discovery. That is a tremendous return on revenue. But that's rolling the dice. That is full, like, 1 in 1,000 that
It's
happens.
treasure hunting. I don't care. I don't care how
It is, and
it's treasure
it's
hunting at the
exciting
end of
and
the
it's
day.
fun. But by focusing on this dirty mining waste, right, with a low capex model, we're able to take real returns. We know the grades that are there. We know what's on surface there. We're able to turn that into revenue right away, clean it up, and then get into cash flow and build this like a sustainable business. Like every other business in every other sector, except for mining, is we're going to grow sustainably and organically by what's on surface. Clean up what we know is there, generate that revenue, and grow sustainably.
So would your goal be to have 10 Montaubans throughout the world in the next 5, 7, 8 years? Is that what the goal of the company is at the end of the day? So as Montauban is winding down, you've got other ones that are winding up, and you're because that's a great model, right? It's
Absolutely, right?
very
Like,
few companies can mine somewhere and then mine somewhere else. It's just too, like you said, it's treasure hunting. It's too hard.
it's gravity
You got
separation.
to get
It's simple.
lucky.
We pick up our equipment, we drop it on the next one. We we clean, or we process, we neutralize, we move on. Right? This is something like what we're trying to show is that this is a platform, right? This is a platform for a clean mining operation that works in across different jurisdictions. This isn't a project, this is a platform.
And that's the great thing about ESGold. Look, if you were just this near-term producer, that in itself is a fantastic story. That in itself is a company maker. But you've got, like you said, a big deposit that you guys think on the balance probabilities right underneath your feet. And you've got Colombia, and you've got other opportunities. So you guys are, and what I love, by the way, you said low capex. That's what I really love, is that it's not a case of, well, George, if we go over to British Columbia over there, we got to spend 30, we got to spend 10, $15 million, and then we got to spend $500 million to build a mine there. If we do find gold, what I love about it's low capex. It's just rinse and repeat.
Our infrastructure is in place, right? Like this is a past producing mine. Is everything's already there. That's what makes this a low capex. That's what makes this work. Is we're piggybacking off of infrastructure that's been put into place because these are legacy mines. And now, well, I said that we could pick up and leave. Well, that's only if we don't find more. Is if we can turn these into mines, right? To restart these mines, which I believe at Montauban is is a very high probability that that will be the case as we continue to explore, is by having producing mines while we continue on focusing on what our bread and butter of what this company was based on is that cleaning up legacy mining waste and generating revenue from that is this should be a very interesting company in the mining space that people will continue to watch because we have a different approach. We're not doing the same thing of, okay, here's a vein on surface, let's dig a big hole. It's we're going after what we know is there, cleaning up, leaving the environment clean, which affects the communities, brings in employment. There's nothing but positives by cleaning up what's left over.
And I guess that might be what the market is missing. I mean, don't get me wrong, the last year, You've had great price appreciation. You can't complain about that. But until you actually turn on the taps, you probably is that you think that's probably a bit of the reality that you don't get the full market attention until you've actually turned on the taps and you're starting to generate, you're starting to generate revenue, and your system is actually working.
We're gonna see value on two fronts here, right? Like once we pour that first bar, we're gonna be a producer. We're gonna be wanting to hit guidance. There's gonna be a lot of expectations on us continuing to produce, which is fantastic because that's our plan. But we're gonna be valued on two fronts, on the production model and then on the exploration model, right? Is you see a lot of producers that are valued strictly on what's coming out of the mine because they know what's already there, and everything that's pulled out is one less ounce in the ground. Then you see a lot of explorers that see tremendous valuation because they're adding to that ounce. We get to do both simultaneously. We're pulling ounces out of tailings piles while adding ounces in the ground. This is
Yeah,
longevity for the
that's
production investor, but that big blue sky potential of that big discovery all investors want to see.
the great news is we're not gonna have to wait long for part one of that. You're talking
No,
about, like I
no, we're
said,
not.
months away. You're talking about 6 to 8 months or so, maybe even a little less than that, but it's 5 to 8 months, 6 to 8 months. That's going to be great. And then at that point, once you start generating the cash flow, all the options open up to you, and that's going to be such a fun part of 2026, which is all right. What do we do with this cash flow to generate even more cash flow and even more stuff? So you and I are going to be talking for a long time, my friend.
It's
We have a lot to talk about.
it's exciting. It's very exciting to be in a position to be pouring gold as soon as we are, and then coupled with the the highest gold price we've ever seen is we're in a very advantageous position to take advantage of that low capex, high margin production model. And every day our margins are getting bigger and bigger. And that's through no that's not my responsibility. Like that's not my doing.
That that
Is
that must be fun, every tick up means that your asset is just gaining value. That's the
it's
incredible part.
like our asset and that waste that's left over that desperately needs to be cleaned is gaining more value.
Yeah, it's a nice double bonus for shareholders. On the one hand, you're they're gonna we it's going to generate some. It hasn't happened yet, but we're projecting it's going to generate some great value. And at the same time, hey, it's you're cleaning up the planet just a little bit at a time. So it's a
It's
1-2. It's a 1-2 for everybody.
like mine has been being done the same way for a long time, and for the most part, it's worked, right? But there's a lot of bad press it gets on that environmental side, I would say. What we're showing is that there's a different way to do things, and this is a two-phase approach. We're not going in digging the first big hole in a completely new area, putting all the infrastructure in. Is we're cleaning up what was left behind, what wasn't cleaned up before these regulations, and people knew better, right? Is Montauban in 1914, they weren't dumping tailings because they didn't care. It's because they didn't know better. And now it's been left. So we're taking it upon ourselves to clean it up while also being able to generate revenue from that. Because it puts us in a very advantageous position moving forward. And it's very exciting, especially in this market.
And there's something to be said for a young guy, a young man who's actually telling that story and getting that message out. Because sometimes if it's the old gray-haired guy, you know, we tend to think you might be a bit of a boogeyman. And but when it's coming from someone of your generation who's grown up with and been educated on and been around these concerns about the environment, and you're talking to everybody about saying we can accomplish both, I think that carries even more weight. So all we got to do is wait a few months to see it all in action. And in the meantime, Gordon, I hope we have you back. I know it's kind of going to be more of a process now, right? There's not going to be much excitement for the next 3-4 months because you're getting, like I said, you're finishing off the construction, bringing the machinery, but I guess you're going to keep everybody updated on those milestones just so we know that's coming closer and closer.
In my opinion, those are very exciting milestones too, right? Big equipment landed on site. That's exciting. But you know what? At the same time, we're still exploring Colombia. There's some exciting work to be
Yep.
done there as we continue to see results of the field work we're doing as we do our due diligence. We'll continue to run programs and uh, with the new year coming up is getting a small exploration team on Montauban just to get an idea of drill targets moving forward. Is there's always things to do, always news to share, always transparency from a CEO's point of view. There's a lot to share and a lot of excitement to come. But again, we're we're months away, not years, from producing.
Love it, man. And we're here to take the ride with you and tell the world and get your message out. And another amazing interview with you, man. I think the company did a really great thing bringing you on board. And from the time
Thank
you
you.
came up, you've come on board. It's just been velocity. It's just been movement, velocity. I think it's great. Can't wait to have you back, my friend. But thanks for joining us today, as always. Really appreciate the level of depth you go into, and you keep it layman, which is great. I don't think I don't think you spoke geology once in this entire 30 minutes.
We'll get to that point. Once we get to the exploration, I'll start boring people a little bit more because right now we're focused on production. Yeah.
All right. You got it. Thank you for joining us. And for everyone at home, thanks for watching. Hope you discover your next great small cap resource company. Put ES Gold on your radar. Read up about it more on Agoracom. Watch the last couple of interviews that we've done together. And obviously, get to the company's website. Do your own due diligence. Because a year from now, I don't want you to tell us we didn't tell you so. Have a great day. Thanks for joining us. Good night from Dubai. See you next time.
Thanks, George.
Hey, small cap fam. I hope you loved this interview because more than a dozen people were involved in its production for the sole purpose of making you happy. If so, can you take a moment to support both our awesome guest company and Agoracom? Your engagement means the world to us. First, if you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up by tapping that like button. It's a small gesture that helps this interview reach even more potential investors to discover today's guest. Second, we would love to hear your feedback on this interview, so please leave a comment below. Be sure to keep it clean, but feel free to poke fun at George. If you loved what you heard on today's video and want to dig into our guest company right away, take a look at the links in the description below. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to never miss another great Agoracom small cap video. Thank you so much. We couldn't do any of this without you. Make sure to come back soon.